Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate Matters. For over 11 years, the voice of real estate in Flagler County and Palm Coast, Florida. Welcome to the quiet side of Florida. I'm Toby Tobin. I'm the publisher of GoToby.com. I'm a contributor to the Palm Coast Observer, and I'm a Florida licensed realtor with Landmark Group at Compass. Got co-host Anna Marie along with me, Flagler County Home Builders Association, and my co-host. Flagler County Home Builders Association is also one of our sponsors. Our lead sponsor is Veranda Bay. That's a private developing community of lots and luxury homes on the Intercoastal Waterway with a Flagler Beach address, featuring custom homes by Olson Homes, AR Homes by Arthur Ruttenberg, ICI Homes, and Holbert Homes. Newly opened sections feature Toll Brothers and Dreamfinders. So if you want to learn more about Veranda Bay, go to verandabay.com. We also thank the Hammock Community Church, the little church in the hammock, a mile and a half north of the toll bridge on A1A, small enough to know you, but large enough to serve you. And it's not just for Hammockians, just because it's in the hammock. I live west of I-95. I travel over there because it's worth the drive. We have a guest today, Kim Luznicki. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Kim, welcome. She's with Daisy. Tell us what Daisy is.
So smart home technologies, from the design to install and also support any smart home technologies within your home.
Do you think it's really wise to have a home that's smarter than you are?
Well, I think over time our homes have become dumb. And, sometimes we, sit there at dinner and maybe ask it to play some music or turn off the lights, and they do the exact opposite, right? So we have to figure out how to get them to talk correctly to each other.
Okay, well, we'll get to you in just a minute. We're going to go through some vital statistics on the housing market in Flagler County. Here we are kind of at mid-month. You're listening at mid-month on the 15th. We're recording on the 13th. So these numbers are as of Thursday afternoon. 73 homes have been sold, single-family homes, Flagler County single-family homes, through the MLS system. The median selling price is $375,990. Now, last year, 144 homes were sold in the same month with a $363.5 median price. Days on market this year, month to date, 84 days. Now, we've been tracking consistently the 250K market and below and the $1 million plus market. And we've noticed over the last several months that the number is pretty equal.
Yeah.
The number of homes under 250 and the number of homes over $1 million. We've also noticed that both ends of the spectrum, the days on market is way less than the overall market.
And the cash buyers
And the cash buyers are more abundant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the higher
Cash
percentage.
is
Well,
king.
that's not happening this month.
No. Yet. There's
no,
still half
not
a month
yet.
to go.
We do. Well, really a little more than half. But of the 73 homes under 250, 5 have been sold, but only one was for cash. But days on market is consistently less, 21 days. And there have been no $1 million homes sold so far through MLS. And I don't know whether that's a statistical aberration or not. We'll know by the end
We'll
of
have
the month.
to wait and see.
Homes listed, 1,252. Homes pending, 317. The listed homes are down a little from a week ago, which means that, we're getting closer to a neutral market rather than a buyer's market. And homes pending, 317. The median selling price of the homes pending, $385,000. So prices overall are still holding pretty steady.
And higher than last year.
Right, and higher than last year. That's true for the last 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah, not true at the beginning of the year. And the Gindex, it's a measure that I invented several years ago, the ratio between listed homes and pending homes, is 4.9. It was, I'm sorry, 3.95, down from 4.9 in July. And it's the first time it's been below 4 in 13 months. So that's a strong.
That's significant.
Yeah. So people who are talking about we have a glut of homes on the market are
Not anymore.
They're not. Some people shouldn't be allowed within 10 feet of a number.
Or a keyboard.
Very true. So the market's waiting for lower rates and more certainty, but still showing signs of strength. And that's particularly important to note because we're in the lower selling months of the year. Most of the selling activity is January through July. So the closing activity, which takes a month and a half to 2 months to close, the closing numbers, the biggest months are March through August. So we're definitely in the part of the time of the market that would be called the doldrums. But we're not this year. I mean, it tells me there's a lot of underlying strength in the market. The market has definitely established a firm floor in the market. We're not seeing prices plummet, and we're not seeing low numbers of homes sold either. But yet there's still reports that most people are not in the market, and it just doesn't jive.
No, I guess the data is proving that wrong.
It is, yeah. So anyway, barring world calamity, and I think that's on a lot of people's minds right now, but barring that, I think we're probably looking at a strong year next year. Any updates on the home builders impact fee lawsuit?
Yeah, the city did file a motion to dismiss, which is quite standard in these sorts of cases. Obviously, when there's litigation filed, the defendant will say, no, I don't want this to happen and want it dismissed. So we're working on our side of things now. And
motion to dismiss is just procedurally standard.
It is very.
All lawsuits go through that step.
Yes. And so, not to be, we're not super concerned with that. So yeah, we're keeping on working.
Good. Well, thanks for the update. We're going to move on to smart homes now. I don't have all of those. I'm not worried about all the devices in my home that aren't connected. I just worry about which one is beeping.
And if it's attached to you.
And well, I have hearing aids, which are non-directional, so the beep could be coming from any room in the house. And I don't know whether it's the refrigerator or the washer or the dryer or the microwave or one of the smoke detectors or any number of things that it could be. Even non-technology people would be an interesting challenge. Just sit down tonight after you've had dinner and make a list of all the things in your house that go beep. And then think back 10, 20 years ago and think about how that number has increased a great deal. Now, technology is not kind to age. And Flagler County's population is aging with 31.4% of its residents age 65 or older, and that's up from 24.6% just 15 years ago. So I guess that just shows I am getting older. That proves it. But I'm really a prime example. And I was once a technical guru in the technology industry. That's where I really grew up before I got into real estate. And I was in the late 1960s with the large computer mainframe environment that IBM was driving at the time. And that's in the 1960s. In the early 1980s, I was the only salesperson for the only authorized IBM PC dealer in Rochester, New York. And companies like Bausch & Lomb, Xerox, Kodak counted on my expertise. I founded the local IBM PC users group, And now I'm trying to figure out which thing in my house is beeping. So
And how to make it stop.
and how to make it go away. Uh, as an example, last year we had one of our heavy duty storms, and I went and spent the night at my son's townhome. He lives here, in my oldest son in Palm Coast, and he's very high tech. He's got a super smart house, and I went to bed, and I couldn't remember either the name of the voice assistant or the name of the bedroom. So I couldn't turn the light. I had to get out of bed and manually turn the light off. So that's my level of technical expertise now. But Kim, that's why we have you here, because you're a lot younger than I am and technically a lot smarter. So tell me, what is a smart home? What are the major components of the smart home?
So you have your infrastructure, right? So the wiring or the wireless systems that are get all the components to talk together. So on average, you have about 25 devices that need to have a path to talk to each other.
Now, when you come up with a number like 25, you're talking about lights and...
Just devices. If you think about your televisions,
I don't even have 25 devices.
But everything that has, do you have any speakers, Alexa in your home?
No.
No.
No,
Well, refrigerators
I'm really
can-
old technology. I recognize the little emblem on my dryer that can be enabled.
You could make it smart, right?
Yeah,
if you
I-
wanted
my
to.
refrigerators
But I
can be
haven't
on on the networks, and I know a lot of the appliances. I mean, you technically can hook up almost anything to a home now and make it all encompassed. And you'd have to have that infrastructure, and it's the low voltage. Is that right, Kim?
Yes, correct. So when someone builds a new home, really the best start is to make sure it's wired. And I know that we talk about, well, everything's wireless now, right? But if you think about on average, 25 devices are trying to talk to each other. How do we teach them to talk to each other wirelessly? It gets to be very chaotic. So if your home is properly wired at the beginning, you have that infrastructure in place. It knows the proper lanes to stay in and how to communicate effectively and seamlessly throughout the home.
So if you were an architect or a builder and you're building other than entry-level homes, you're going to be, you should be thinking about putting in a structured wiring system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the backbone to the system.
See, that's a term, structured wiring backbone. I remember those terms. Good. Well, we'll be right back, folks. We have to take a quick break. Don't go away. Well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for staying with us. This is the second half of Real Estate Matters, brought to you by Veranda Bay, the wonderful, beautiful, developing luxury community on the Intercoastal Waterway off John Anderson Boulevard with a Flagler Beach address. We've been talking about smart homes with Kim Liznicki from Daisy, and her specialty is smart homes because she's so smart. So, Daisy, we're just talking, kind of getting into the subject about the major components of a smart home and wiring versus unwired systems. When I built a home in 2000, when I first moved here 25 years ago, I was thinking about doing things that you should do at construction, and one of them is wiring decisions, and another is like pest tubes for pest control. Things you can't do once you get the drywall up, or if you do it, it's very expensive. So I pre-wired the house for speakers. Actually, put speakers in all the rooms, but I didn't have a sound system. But I thought I would someday. And by the time I sold the home 13 years later, everybody was installing wireless speakers. So I not only did I not get to use the installed wired speakers, but they were never used, and they didn't add value to the house either. But so you run that risk when you're dealing with technical things that change technically pretty fast, and smart home technology is changing very quickly. What do you see that's in the future that we don't have now? That will come still in my lifetime while I'm still young.
I think you'll see a lot of homes that will have more controlled, I would say, lighting systems, right? To be able to have that, your light in your home be kind of mimic the sun and your circadian rhythm, your internal clock. So right now, you throw those lights on in the morning and you're trying to figure out what switch to hit, and it's just blasting with that bright light.
Right. It's either on or off.
Exactly. But you could get light down to 1% now.
Oh, wow.
So very, very low.
Yeah, that would be nice for middle of the night wake ups with kids too, to have a very low light or one of my twins who's afraid of the dark, to just have a nighttime setting that is not going to mess up her sleep, but make her comfortable.
Absolutely.
Would you encourage? And I'm speaking to perhaps my generation. People say people over 60. And I probably just offended a bunch of 60-year-olds. But people who were not weaned on smart home technology and who can remember not having smartphones. Smartphones have only been around about 17, 18 years or so, and they're ubiquitous now. What would we do without them? But 20 years ago, they didn't exist.
Right.
And most people have never even thought of the concept of a smartphone. They thought a flip phone was...
Yeah, all of our teachers said we would never have calculators all the time and we better learn to do math. Well, I got news for you. I got one in my pocket all the time.
Okay, so where would you start if you were thinking of putting in... Should you go for the full boat at the beginning, or should you go stepwise?
Yeah, so I would say, start in your main living spaces and expand from there. But you want to create the experiences, right? So your experience versus mine is going to be different. You may wake up earlier than me and want to create that sunrise, that natural evolution of the sun and the light, than maybe me that, maybe wakes up a little bit later than you, right? So you want to make sure that we have, we could set preferences, set scenes in your home that are for you.
And you do the same thing with music.
Absolutely, with music.
Personalize it.
Yeah, and that balanced music throughout the house versus having it blaring just in one area. I know we've all had that experience where we go to a party outside, by the pool, and everybody in the pool wants the music up, but everybody in the patio, it's blaring in their ears. So have that just balanced music throughout your home.
So what are the biggest mistakes that most people make when they go to not calling you is probably one of them.
Yeah, not calling Daisy, right? But also, when you're building a home, to make sure that you put that wire in. That's so important to have that, again, backbone or infrastructure, but not planning for the future, not having the ability to scale and say, we'll skip the bedrooms or we'll skip the bathrooms, but wire everywhere. The cost of wiring can save you 40 to 60% on average if you have to do a retrofit after, get into some drywall.
Are wired components less expensive generally than?
It depends on, what the experience you want and what the device, the devices or the components, wired versus unwired, it's all about the experience, and the equipment, will be built around that.
And what about you talked about the number of devices that are in a typical network today. And they're not even all the same device type, because they could be an appliance, they could be a music system, they could be a security system, cameras. There's so many things, and they're not all coming from one manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to be a tremendous challenge. And you probably don't buy all of them at the same time. I mean, you're certainly not going to go and get all new appliances because you just put in some smart home technology.
Sure. And again, if you start in those, your main living areas, that's the easiest, and then to scale and expand from there versus, putting in a total remodel and retrofit.
And what about integrating lighting? Does that represent a unique challenge?
Yeah. So lighting is so cool that you take all those, switches on the wall and just to create an experience with one switch. So it could be the goodnight button that says goodnight, and all of your window coverings come down, all your doors lock, security cameras go on, all your lights go to very low lighting. Maybe you have a few of those night lights on, right? So the control panel is very simple to operate, and it's set with scenes and preferences, and you may have that get ready button and it says get ready on there versus having to try to create that scene with 10 different switches throughout your house.
And what about sensitivity to, let's say we have the power flickers on and off, a storm just went through and I lost power for 10 seconds. Sometimes that takes down my Wi-Fi system and I have to go and unplug everything and count to 10 and plug it back in again.
Yeah, if you have a good backup system, right, there's sequencing, and to make sure that everything is powered back up correctly and not everything is, powering back up at the same time. So there is backup systems that will, put them in order of preference to get everything back up and running in smart homes.
But that would typically be a wired system as opposed to
there's both. You could do primarily a system that does have to be wired, a backup system.
I remember seeing the backup at the IBS, the International Builder Show, the showcase home that we got to do the preview at. They had the whole backup, and then they had some that was like extra battery power or some type of power on the. We could see it from the outside at that point.
Yeah, and to be able to control and have clean power coming through, that's really cool too. So when your lights flicker, it sometimes is, at 5 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock when everybody's home, right? But to understand, that gets pretty technical, but that's why you have a programmer that takes care of it.
That's just when you call Daisy and they set it up. But I don't think that homeowner will ever know that the power has flickered.
Nope. It will be seamless.
It's going to he's just going to keep going on in his life unless he's like looking out at the lake and sees that everybody else's lights went out. He's just going to carry on with life.
Yep. It's pretty sweet, right?
But his home is very, very smart and it relies on the technology. So if you're going to go with a smart home, I would imagine that having the backup and the sequencing would be necessary.
Absolutely.
I think most of us have probably been in that situation where like your car's in the garage and your garage door opener or the power goes out and you're like, oh, what do I do? And then you're like, oh wait, I can still open a garage. Like you forget, right? Because all you do is press the button over and over again. You're like, oh, that's right. I can still actually just pull the red button and then, or the red
lift
tag and lift the door. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot, but I've definitely done that before because you start to rely on these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, we got to wrap it up now. Kim, thank you for being here. Why don't you tell people how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you could go to our website, daisyco.com.
Daisy CO?
Yes.
Okay.
DAISYCO.com.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our Palm Coast locations. We have 27 locations in the U.S., with 9 of them being in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And your hours are?
We actually have a 24/7 support center that you can call when you're a Daisy client, and we could support you remotely and solve about 70% of your challenges.
Okay.
And you have that super amazing experience center down in Orlando.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. If anybody wants to take a tour of our experience center in Orlando, golf simulator, home theater, Control 4 system, we have a lot of offerings that you can touch and feel and experience.
Good. Well, thanks again. We really appreciate and we just touched the surface today. We'll have to have you back.
Yeah,
And
that'd be
Rhea,
fun.
You want to wrap it up?
I would love to wrap it up. Got to turn my page. Video podcasts of Real Estate Matters are now available on gotoby.com. Click on podcasts on the top navigation bar. If you have a question or a suggestion for Real Estate Matters or gotoby.com,
Call me, 386-931-7124, or you can email me at toby@gotoby.com. I'm Toby Tobin, and I approve this show.